Hey, this is Dave Douglas, and that's the music of Enrico Rava for the Greenleaf Music Podcast, A Noise from the Deep. This is a really special episode. It's an interview that I did with Enrico that was made for the Festival of New Trumpet Music. This year, Font Music celebrated Enrico with its award of recognition. And I wanted to share this on the Greenleaf podcast feed because he had a lot of interesting things to say. And the music is wonderful, of course. So it's the great Enrico Rava. To join us as a member and get all the extras and all the episodes, visit greenleafmusic.com and join up as a subscriber through Bandcamp. It's a great way to hear the whole catalog, all the artists, and all these interviews that I've been doing for the past few years. Hope you enjoy it. Here's the great Enrico Rava. Yeah. Congratulations. We do this every year. I don't know how much you know about this festival. It's based in New York. And we just feel like the important people who are with us and still playing great, we just want to celebrate them. And
well, okay, I say I'm honored. Absolutely, so I'm very happy about it. Yeah.
Well, it's great to see you. And we put together a clip of performances from different parts of your trumpet playing, different times. But something that I didn't know is I just read that you started on trombone. So did I.
Really? And what did you play with the trombone? What kind of music you play?
Just school band music.
I played Dixieland.
Uh-huh.
I played for a very short time in a Dixieland band. We were playing. I knew all the Kid Ory part, from the Armstrong Hot 5.
Wow.
Because I love very much. Still, I love Armstrong Hot 5, Hot 7. I love Big Spiderback a lot, Still listening to them very often.
Wow. And so how old were you when you changed to trumpet, and why did you change?
Well, no, I after a very short time, I quit, and then for a few years, I didn't play anything except a little piano. But then I saw Miles with Lester Young in my hometown. Was 1956. It was an Urban Grants concert. So Miles played with Lester Young and the French rhythm section. Then there was Bud Powell solo, piano. Wow. Then there was the Modern Jazz Quartet. And then Miles and Lester Young played with the Modern Jazz Quartet.
Wow.
So that concert was something unbelievable because there was 56. Miles at that time was playing it was so marvelous, it was amazing. The sound, the ideas, everything. And at that time, the amplification wasn't like now, and it was very little microphone.
Yeah.
So you really heard in this pretty big theater, Miles almost acoustic, with this amazing sound that got the whole theater. So then, about 2 weeks later, I bought a trumpet, and I started trying to learn it, copying the easy tune like Solar, copying the easy phrases, the four, that kind of.
Yeah.
And that's the way I learned, I didn't study, I learned like that.
Were you able to get records at that time? The recordings?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I was buying a lot. I had when I saw Miles, I was 17 and a half, but I already had all his record, including, Back Groove, Walking,
Wow.
Blue Haze, which is one of my favorite, and of course, Birth of the Cool. No, I had all of that.
Wow,
and I had a lot of Chet too.
I
love Chet Baker too a lot.
Yeah, and you probably heard him around that time, also.
Well, yeah, because let's say that I met him in '61, because my best friend, which was older than me, but anyway, he was a drummer. And he was playing in Chet group, Italian group, So when they had a couple of days off, Chet would come to Torino, living at my friend's house. So my friend would call me, say, Enrico, Chet is here. So I would just run there, stay all day with Chet, I could hardly talk to him because for me it was like to be too close to the sun, And he was speaking already very good Italian because he just came out from jail where he stayed 1.5 years in Lucca, Italy. So he learned he spoke pretty good Italian, yeah. Because at the time I didn't speak any English, so that's why.
Wow. That's great.
Even now I'm not that good, but
You speak great, Enrico. And Chet must have known all the special words if he was in prison for a year and a half.
Yeah, of course. And he was very sweet, because when I met him, he was clean. Because when he came out of jail, he was clean for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Then his group, it was an Italian group. Then he started having guests coming from Belgium. He had Bobby Jaspar.
Mm-hmm.
Remember him? Bobby Jaspar was.
Sure. Yeah.
And René Thomas, the guitar player that played with Rollins, they were both heavily junkie.
Oh.
So he started again all over. And the whole tragedy started all over again.
Yeah. But it's sad. So, but you very soon after, you ended up in New York and you were playing with Steve Lacy. How did you meet him?
Yeah. Because the first gig I had, when I left my home, it was with Gatto Barbieri in Rome.
Mm-hmm.
So we played about 9 months every night in a club. Then it was this festival in Bologna, which was the first festival with free jazz in Italy. So there was Don Cherry with the Marvelous Quintet, with Gatto, Carl Berger, Aldo Romano, and Jenny Clark. It was Steve Lacy. It was Ted Carson. It was Mal Waldron. So I met Steve there, and then when the group with Gatto disbanded, Steve was passing by Italy. Mm-hmm. And asked me to join his trio. It was a trio. It became a quartet with me. Mm. And it works so well that then he brought me first. Before we went to South America, we stayed 1 year in Buenos Aires. Mm-hmm. And then when the rhythm section, they were too African, they went back to London. Johnny
Gianni and Luis Maholo. Yeah.
They went back to London, and I went with Steve to New York. The band at that point was different. It was with Carl Berger, Ken Carter, and Paul Motion. We're talking about 1967. Mm-hmm. And then I met Raswell. So I played a lot with Raswell Rudd in his band. And then he played with my band.
Wow, that's great. Amazing. And New York must have been very different at that time.
It was amazing.
Did you stay in the East Village, or where were you?
No, I stay at the beginning. I stay in Carla Bley apartment when she moved to I think to I don't remember. Anyway, she moved out with her husband. What's his name? Michael Mantler. Mm. And I stayed at her place for a while. Mm. Then Cecil Taylor got me a loft in 36th and 6th.
Wow.
Then I had a lot of problem in this loft with the nothing worked, There was and there was a little fire. And I moved to Claremont Avenue. You know where it is?
Uptown, way uptown, right?
Town, and I was 100 meters from the station of 125th and Broadway, the subway station, which is
nice.
Then when I started recording for ECM and I started also making tour in Europe and making some money, I moved to, maybe you know that building, 1 Fifth Avenue. It's the one near Washington Square, number 1 Fifth Avenue. It is a corner between Fifth Avenue and 8th Street.
Yeah, amazing. I didn't know that.
I stayed 2-3 years there. And
you must have met some incredible...
William Burroughs lived there too. William Burroughs was living a couple of... Yes.
I can imagine the two of you in the elevator.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you must have met some incredible trumpet players in New York at that time.
Well, first of all, I met one of my favorite was Kenny Dorham.
Wow.
that was very sick already. He was very good friend of Roswell. So we were rehearsing at St. Peter Church all the time, the Reverend Genzel, the jazz.
Yeah. It's not the jazz church anymore.
No, No, we were rehearsing there, and Kenny Dorham at the time, he was working in a store. Like, I don't remember, it was Manny's or something like that. And he was sick, and he would come to say hello to Roswell to our rehearsal. So I was just looking at him because I had this record, amazing, with Kenny Dorham. Then I met all these guys. There was people that I met. There was a guy that I don't think nobody knows him. It was called Butch Jones. It was a trumpet player. I never heard anything like that. It was so good. Huh. He was very young, and the problem, he was working in the post office, and he was very young, maybe 22 or something like that. But he had already 3 kids. And he felt very responsible, so he didn't want to be a jazz musician. He didn't feel that he could, take care of them. Mm. So although Al Blakey asked him to join the band, and he didn't. So he missed, it was so good because it was in between Booker Liddell and Art Farmer. Was between Art Farmer sound-wise, and Booker Liddell was so good. It was. Didn't read a note. Me neither. That's why we went together to one of the rehearsal band, just in front of Charles Collins building. Then when I did a record with Dollar Brand, Abdullah Ibrahim, in the band was Charles Sullivan. Do you remember Charles Sullivan?
Sure, yeah. Charles Sullivan.
At the time, he got married with Sharon Freeman, the French horn player. And anyway, New York, the time was very, very violent, very, very dangerous. In fact, I've been mugged with a knife in my throat, And
so more than Roma.
More than anything, it was like, and of course it was still the Vietnam War. So every day there would be demonstration, in the street with all those veterans, with no legs, no arms. It was amazing.
So, but soon after that, you were playing with Globe Unity Orchestra, and so
I did in and out for many years. Yes,
and I know that you met Lester Bowie in that context, right?
Lester, I think I met him because he was playing a lot in Italy, because there was a guy called Isio Saban, they were bringing them all the time, Yeah. And so I met Lester, we became pretty friends, we did some concert together. I loved him, he was fantastic. Another one I met was Bill Dixon. Do you remember Bill Dixon?
Sure, yeah.
Bennington. He called me to do a work with him in Bennington, Vermont. And it was great, And but I fell in love for Vermont. Bennington, Vermont was one of the most beautiful places ever,
Wow.
And he was there teaching. He was teaching music in a dance context because his girlfriend was Judy Dunn. I don't know if you remember. She was one of the main dancers of Merce Cunningham ballet, and she was teaching dance at Bennington. So she brought Bill, and Bill was teaching, music.
Yeah.
And so he had this beautiful Jaguar, sport Jaguar. In fact, I knew him through the picture, so I thought it was a very serious guy, like a professor, Instead, it was like a playboy, with fantastic Jaguar, sport Jaguar,
Yeah.
dark green. It was very funny, but
Right.
very, very. It was a great jazz fan. We talk all the time about record because I'm mainly a jazz fan. I'm a jazz fan that start playing. I'm not a musician that then. So we were talking about Clifford Brown records and everything. And then there was another one I like. Do you remember Tony Fruscella?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, I was.
When
I was still in Torino, I loved him a lot. Tony Fruscella. That only record he did.
Yeah, very sweet player, very, very beautiful.
He had more or less 1 octave and a half, no more than that. He could play higher than the G, maybe. But play very, very low, though. So this beautiful sound.
Wow, that's great. I appreciate talking with you so much. We could talk all afternoon into the evening, but I'm just grateful you made the time for us and that we're allowed to honor you with the award. But I had a question, curiosity. Yeah. I know you may not find this interesting, but do you think, having, being from Europe and having come up in a European context and then having been in the States and now having played with musicians from all over the world, do you think there's a basic difference in the approach between musicians coming out of Europe and musicians coming out of the United States?
But not really. I don't think really there is not a big difference, not anymore anyway. If you're talking about the 60s, when I moved to New York, there was a big difference that when in New York, when you hear somebody playing, you really felt that he gave everything he had, like it was his last time he played. While in Italy, everything was more. Although there was some amazing musicians in Europe, like Barney Whelan, not the one that did the record with Miles and Bobby Jaspar. But now I think the level in Europe is so high now that it's comparable, as far as I'm concerned, to an American. Although finally, anyway, jazz is an American music, so of course you have maybe something, maybe we have something different or not. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I was asking the question in the context of just the basic approach to being in a band and playing with other musicians. And do you sense that there's a cultural, just a difference in the way that people think about that or interact?
Not anymore. Not anymore. There was a big difference, but talking about 50 years ago, 40, 30 years ago. But now I don't think there is this big difference. Maybe there's no difference at all.
The world is smaller and everyone has traveled. Do you think?
Yeah, exactly that.
Right.
And also in Italy now there is so many musicians. There is such an activity of music, and the quality, the level is so high that it's hard to believe for me that I came up, when I started in Italy, we were only 3 guys that only play jazz, that were living with that, Everybody else they were in an orchestra or in nightclubs or with singers. And now there is thousands of people that just are jazz musicians. I don't even know how they survive, but still there is so many, and the quality is so high. I do this seminar in Siena every year. Yeah. Just last week I was there, and I had a group. I do, ensemble music, and a band. A trombone player was so good. It was maybe 23-year-old, but plays so good, so open, and the technique and everything, the sound, And a girl that played drums beautifully, very original. Also, the gestuality was very special. I mean, every time I go to Siena, I meet some amazing guys, so that's great.
And there's a lot of great young trumpet players in Italy now also.
Yeah, there is many, and they play so good that make me feel like go to retire immediately.
Well, I'm sure they're all devoted to you, Enrico. They owe a lot to you.
There is some of them that there's one, but some of them is very creative, but then there is some of them is technically is so incredible. There is one, Fabrizio Bosso. Did you ever meet him?
I've just briefly. I don't really know him.
He has such a control on the instruments. It's impossible. Okay, it's like when the first time I heard what is the name of the trumpet player, American trumpet player, play very avant-garde music with a lot of technique. No, Peter.
Oh, Peter Evans.
Peter Evans. It's amazing too, no? I was listening to that. Say, I didn't imagine that with the trumpet you could do the kind of thing, But I'm not sure I would like to do them, but still, I mean.
Well, to wrap this up, I'm glad that you mentioned all these players, and we're a festival about creative, about the music first and foremost, but trumpet players doing anything different with individuality and personality and dedication and, redefining who can be a trumpet player and what the instrument even means in different contexts. And there's a great video I've seen of you very young, where you say in Italian, you look straight at the camera and you say, "My name is Enrico Rava and I am the best trumpet player in the world."
Yeah, it was a joke, of course, no? because then the alto player, which was 17, he was an amazing alto player. He say, "I am Massimo Urbani and I'm the best alto player in the world. Unfortunately, I have to play with Enrico Rava, which is the worst." And then Calvin Hill on bass say the same thing, This was a joke, but somebody thought that I said that seriously. I'm not so stupid, There is
well, we think that you're great. We think that you're fantastic, and I love that clip is available out there. And so, Enrico, thank you so much for everything. You've been an inspiration to me personally, but to everybody in this group and this organization and trumpet players around the world. And as a musician, as a trumpeter, as a human being, it's also great. So thank you so much. And we're
thank you, Dave.
You could make the time.
And please, thank to everybody, to all the beautiful words you said. What can I say?
We love you.
Love you.
As always, thanks for listening. A Noise from the Deep. This is Dave Douglas for Greenleaf Music. Come and join us, greenleafmusic.com. And thank you to Enrico Rava. Enrico Rava.